on Drawbli, we're looking at the art of Anthony Jones.
I am so excited to talk about Anthony's artwork. Like, there's just so much, and obviously their colors are incredible. Like, there's just so many cool things here to talk about. I can't wait to look at this artist.
I don't generally gravitate towards like the kind of scary, like the creepy things.
You're not a spooky, scary person.
No, I love like Dark Souls lore and that world, but I can't play the game.
Wow, I didn't know. Too scary.
It is. It literally is. I used to play it in my apartment alone, and it was a lot. But this artist is so good at creating that world and bringing it to life through his art.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Incredible.
I love this one so much.
I think that one's my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
These 4 concepts.
Like, if you walk into a room in a game and you see that at the end of the hall, you know you're screwed.
Oh yeah, and the way it fades into darkness up top, I love that because it really brings in that fear of the dark of like, I can't see what's up there. There could be more scary things up there.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown. Yeah, I want to look more at that idea, but like with how they use focus in their brushwork, because they do a lot of creepy stuff, but I feel like one of the problems with doing like scary creatures is that when you show the monster, it kind of loses that element of scariness. Like in a movie, a lot of the time they won't show the monster until the very end, and then you see it and you're like, you know?
I don't know.
I feel like they do a good job of still like showing the monster and it being kind of creepy.
Kind of still, yeah, like, you know, there's always a foggy element, an unknown element that keeps you feeling like, oh, I don't know what this thing will do. Or like you can't understand it maybe. Yeah. Sure.
So like, oh man, I love how, like, this is a really good example of something super sketchy, and this feels like a lot more refined to me.
A lot more refined.
Still like kind of sketchy though, in a lot of ways.
But you can still pick out like so much amazing detail, like the little sculptures into the waist and hips there is very cool.
But they're so loose, like they're still super loose. And up here, he is awesome. I love that character.
That is so cool.
That's such a cool like enemy for a game or something. Oh, also, I wanted to show off that they have done some sculpting before. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
True to your heart.
Yeah, I love me some sculpting. Let's do it. This feels really refined to me, a lot more than what we've looked at so far.
It does.
So clearly they can sit down and render an image for quite a while and like get all these little details and all this.
Yeah, I always love to see that.
Man, their value control as well for leading the eye.
Wow, this is so fun to look at. I think this image, and it's interesting because this image is a little different from what we've seen from them so far, just a little bit. I don't know what exactly it is.
Honestly, most of their stuff kind of looks a lot more like this that I've seen online. But there was like so many of them. I was like, well, you know, I can't just show off like 100 of these. I mean, we could.
Some of that is the white background too. A lot of what we've looked at, they've also kind of brought in this sort of misty, foggy looking background, and to see it starkly on white is a little bit different too.
That's true. There is a lot of contrast there. I think that their kind of creature concepts, or just concepts in general, are so strong. They do some really cool stuff with them. I from what I've seen from their channel, I think a lot of the time he just starts with a blank canvas, goes in and like doesn't necessarily, at least to me, it doesn't look like he starts with an idea. It's like he finds the idea in the paint, in the messiness of it. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm sure, you know, he could speak more on that. Maybe if you check out this video, you can let us know down in the comment below.
Yeah, I love the world building here. It really evokes these senses and these feelings.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Anything like where you can build a sci-fi world and have it have so much happening, like that feels like a story without even like a very, I mean, we have a character in this, but you can barely see the character, but you still feel like so much is happening. This is cool, this kind of leap here.
That's terrifying.
That's so terrifying.
The idea of floating in space helplessly, or this looks like they're getting sucked out into the void.
Yeah, or exploring the ruins of a ship that was like sending out a distress call, and you answered the distress call and there's nobody there.
Space is very scary.
Now, would you like designing space helmets? This is what, like, why I said earlier, like, there's something in art for everybody, so do what you love, because I really wouldn't be that jazzed about designing space helmets.
I don't I think I probably would really enjoy it because it really scratches kind of my gamer itch, which is like these very much remind me of all the different helmets you could unlock in Halo 3.
Oh.
And it was so cool whenever you unlocked a new piece of armor, especially a helmet, because it really changed the look and feel of your character.
That's really cool.
So I was a big fan of that. So I think I would enjoy working on it.
One thing, I don't know if we've talked about it so far, but let's dive into it again, is this artist's really good grasp of using a limited color palette. Definitely, we have like red tones, this lime yellow, and then blue, and then everything else is very subtle. Like the cyan blue with
Very
the darker
blue yellow.
blue. Yeah. But everything's kind of within that same range, which allows us to have this big, complex image, but it's not overwhelming at all to the eye.
And then they're just like black and white stuff, like
So
devoid
scary.
of color.
Yeah, no. I'm glad there's people who enjoy making this, because there's moments in time where I'm like, sure, I'm in the mood for the unknown, the real scary space stuff, but I don't want to make it. This is nice. This is really good.
Yeah, this is, you know, from a thumbnail view, this looks so cool and interesting. But once you get in here, you're like, oh, this is like, these are large brush strokes, not really all that detailed, but it just works. It works so well.
It genuinely does. And I love the restraint of using, you know, where brightest pops of color are not on the focal main character.
It's true.
But it doesn't
still
take
works.
away. Yeah, like it makes this even better.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah, this is really, really nice.
This really hits home. Limited color palette. We've got areas of focus and areas that are less important and less refined.
Like, look at his hand. Like, that's just his hand on the face. It's just like 3 brush strokes. Yeah, like, oh, those are fingers, sure. But then you get here and you're like, oh, whoa, that looks amazing. Like, that hair to me is so good.
Very good.
Like, I love this image. Everything about this is just like so perfect.
I love this too because the brush that they're using that so often.
I love that brush.
It looks like one of the default Procreate brushes or something similar to it, which with just that little bit of color variation.
That is not a default brush though.
Oh, probably not. I imagine it's not.
But I've made a brush that's very similar to that, and I do love that brush. When I first made it, I called it my Gomibako brush, which translates to trash can.
Oh my gosh.
It's my trash brush, but I really liked using it.
I really like the direction of this image too. We've got our limited color palette. We have areas of softness and areas of focus, but then we also have like the whole thing shoots from the top to the bottom corner across the canvas, which is a very nice thing. It like carries the eye.
I'm not gonna lie, I think it's really hard to make green in a painting work like this strongly, but this works super well with this purple. Like this much green. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like a lot of paintings of nature typically tend to lean more towards a warmer palette, like more yellow than anything, yellow orange. But yeah, that looks awesome. That's so good.
This is incredible. Just so fun to look at. We've got, I think, again, like all the examples. It's almost like, you know, this is just reminding us each time. Does limited color palette work? Yes, it does. Does using simple brush strokes work? Yes, they do. Areas of focus versus areas of less focus? Absolutely. Follow these rules and you're going to create amazing things.
Yes, and also lots and lots of practice.
Yes.
Ooh, but this doesn't have any of those things.
No.
This doesn't have the colors. I mean, it does have the, you know, simple kind of brushwork.
Yeah, it looks like some playing around, some concepting, figuring out if they like, you know, this setup.
But it's so cool. This is cool. I like their playing with contrast. They do a really good job of like making high contrast images that work really well.
Also, look how tall this man is.
He's a very tall man.
He's so tall.
Those legs.
That's so funny to me because those are the kind of artistic decisions about character design that I never can quite like get around to making of like, no, he's supposed to be this way.
His belt is just very high up. He's wearing his pants like up past his belly button like a total dweeb.
Yeah, but like barely. No, he's got very long legs.
You're right, yeah. This guy's not giving off dweeb vibes. He is awesome. And some very simplistic stuff that, like simplistic brush strokes in my opinion.
But still tells a gruesome tale.
Yes, exactly. Like first read, you're like, cool environment. Then you start like looking at the other elements and you're like, oh, there's people down here. And then there's maybe a creature strung across, like dripping blood.
It could be a person. I don't know. I think there's a very violent society here. Very strange. There's so much story here that we don't know. And I love that story that like,
look at these pools of
you
lava.
questioning.
And then it's like, no, it's blood.
It's actually blood.
Pink,
This is cool.
is this blood too?
No.
Okay.
I don't really know what's going on here, but I know that it's really interesting.
I know that if I saw this creature in real life, I would be running.
This person could, I feel like, easily, work with like the Dark Souls creators and making art
I
for
don't know
their
if they
games.
have, but they would do a really good job. I love this face on a face. That is awful and horrifying in every way.
It's so scary.
The bulbous head, the weird like neck mouth.
It kind of reminds me of like the Predator from...
Predator.
Yes.
The Predator from
I haven't seen that movie, but
Okay.
that's what I
Well, we need to go
kind
watch
of pick
it
up on the
because
vibes of.
Predator is very, very spooky, scary. At least the first one, in my opinion, gives some scary vibes.
This reminds me of the Duke from Dune. Not the
Ooh,
Duke, the
yeah.
Baron. The Baron.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. And if you would like to be the Baron from Dune, click that subscribe button down below.
And this is the part where we say
Goomba.